Buying a home is a huge investment, and the last thing that you want to do is make a huge, costly mistake. So on this week's episode, I'm sharing with you guys the 5 biggest first-time homebuyer mistakes so that you can avoid them. Coming up next. What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Caton, I'm a loan officer from San Diego, California, and on this channel I help people just like you learn how to buy their first home. I also talk about other things like mortgages and real estate, so if that's something that you're into, make sure you hit that like button and hit subscribe so you can stay up to date with all of my latest content. Now I've been lucky enough to work with hundreds of first-time home buyers, and over the years I've compiled this list of the 5 biggest mistakes that I've seen my clients and other people's clients make so that you can avoid making them when buying your first home. So the first one right off the bat is shopping for a home without actually getting approved for a loan. Now, I know it probably sounds counterintuitive, it's very exciting to go look around and shop for homes, but if you haven't been approved for financing yet, you're not gonna understand what your budget actually is. Sure, there's a lot of online mortgage calculators and things like that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you can actually qualify for that particular mortgage or that particular payment. So your very first step before you do anything else is to make sure that you get pre-approved for a home loan before you start shopping for a home. Now, the second biggest mistake that most buyers make is thinking emotionally instead of practically. Now, I get it, the first time home buying process is super exciting, You want to get obsessed with, the rooftop or maybe the windows, the hardwood floors. Maybe you've always wanted a granite countertop in your home. Or maybe there's a particular neighborhood that you really want to live in and have your kids go to school in. But you have to make sure that you're also thinking about this as an investment, not just a purchase. And as with any good investment, you want to make sure that you're buying within your means. The biggest mistake I see most buyers make is they get emotional about a house and they start to stretch their budget above what they're actually able to afford. Just because you can qualify for a particular home doesn't necessarily mean that you can afford it, doesn't mean that it's a good idea for your long-term finances. So make sure that you're thinking really practically and staying within your budget and not getting too emotional about the house that you're buying. And while we're on the topic of staying within your budget, that leads us to mistake number 3, which is forgetting about all the other costs associated with buying your home. Now, of course, you probably already know that you're going to need a down payment, but there are other costs that you're going to incur during the home buying process. These costs include some upfront costs, such as home inspections and appraisals, along with the closing costs associated with your home. Now, I've already done a video previously talking about closing costs, and I'll link it wherever the thing goes up here, but you want to make sure that you're also planning ahead for all of those other expenses outside of your down payment. A good estimate on average is about 2 to 3% of the purchase price is what you'll probably expect for your closing costs. Now, talk with your real estate agent and your loan officer to understand your options here with closing costs, because these are things that can be negotiated in the process. Alrighty, on to mistake number 4, and this is probably the biggest, most deadly mistake that you can make during the home buying process, and that's opening up new credit. Now, in the time while you're waiting for your keys, you're probably thinking about all the different ways that you're going to decorate the home, whether it's new furniture, new appliances, maybe a brand new TV. But your lender is going to be monitoring your credit throughout the transaction, and if you open up new credit, you could possibly be disqualifying yourself from your loan and end up not even being able to qualify for a home at all. So if you're buying a home, make sure that you don't open up any new credit. If you have to make some purchases while you're under contract, make them with cash. You want to make sure that you're not utilizing any of your credit in any way during the home buying process. Now, while opening credit can definitely cost you a lot of money, by not doing this, you're potentially losing out on the opportunity to save some money. And this is the 5th mistake, which is not shopping around for a home loan. A good amount of people, when buying their first home, don't really shop around for their mortgage options because they get excited that they're approved and they're like, cool, I'm approved, I can buy a home, everyone's probably the same, this is the person that I'm gonna work with. But it's very important to understand that different lenders and different banks have different ways of qualifying you for a particular rate or for a different program. So make sure that you shop around once you're under contract with probably 2 or 3 different lenders, or maybe even work with a mortgage broker who can do that shopping for you to get the most aggressive loan program that you can qualify for. This is going to potentially save you thousands of dollars, not just in closing costs, but definitely over the life of your loan by helping you find a lower interest rate as well. Now, a little side note here, it's not just the lowest rate that matters. Buying a home obviously is a stressful process. You want to make sure that you're shopping not just the rate and the closing costs, but also kind of comparing the level of service that you're getting from loan officers as well. Typically places like online lenders like Rocket Mortgage or even big banks like Wells Fargo or Chase might have some okay rates, but the customer service sometimes isn't there. And when you're buying a home and you're on a tight deadline, you want to make sure that you have someone holding your hand throughout the process. So make sure that you're shopping around your rate, your closing costs, and also finding a loan officer that you're really comfortable and confident with that's gonna help you throughout this process. Alrighty, so that does it for the list of the 5 biggest mistakes that I've seen first-time homebuyers make firsthand. What did you think? Have you thought that these are probably not a big deal? Are you guilty of making some of these mistakes as well? I'm curious to see what your answers are, so leave them in the comments down below and leave a suggestion for what kind of content that you want to see on this channel as well, so I can make some more content that's a lot more valuable to you, the first-time home buyer. But until then, guys, make sure you hit that like button, hit subscribe, and follow me on social media, on Instagram, here on YouTube as well, and on Facebook for more content just like this. Until next time, first one in, last one out. Peace.